The Australian curriculum is a curriculum for all students. It is an inclusive curriculum defined by its capacity to recognise and respond to the diversity of learners. So how can we support all students to access and demonstrate their learning against the achievement standards? The whole school approach to differentiated teaching and learning supports teachers to ensure success for all students. In order to remove potential barriers to learning, teachers need to have a deep understanding of the Australian Curriculum Achievement Standards, including the key terms. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to start by looking at the glossaries for each learning area. The key terms are already defined in an inclusive way and consider diverse learners and their access needs. The key terms support teachers to plan differentiated teaching and learning. It's about looking at the curriculum through an inclusive lens of what our students can do. For example, if we look at the English glossary, the definition of the term write is inclusive of the different ways students can write. This means that when an aspect of the achievement standard requires a student to write, students can demonstrate this by using a scribe to transcribe a student's verbal or signed response, a braille device, sequence drawings or photos, such as a photo story, eye gaze technology and software, handwriting, speech-to-text assistive technology, or typing, which can include the use of spell check and word prediction. Sometimes the key terms can be unintentionally interpreted in a way that creates barriers for learners. For example, writing can be misinterpreted as handwriting, but clearly that's not correct. Handwriting differs to writing. Handwriting is defined in the English glossary as the production of legible, correctly formed letters by hand or with the assistance of writing tools, for example, pencil grip or assistive technology. Unless handwriting itself is being assessed, which it may be, but only in Prep to Year 3 English, a student does not need to handwrite to demonstrate their writing or respond to assessment tasks in other learning areas using handwriting. For example, if a student cannot demonstrate the handwriting aspect of the achievement standard due to a physical impairment, limited or no movement in their hands, they cannot be assessed against that aspect of the achievement standard. These students are assessed against the remainder of the achievement standard. This decision will not impact their level of achievement. Teachers have the autonomy to plan assessment tasks that respond to the diverse needs of their students by either making adjustments to existing assessment tasks or intentionally designing assessment tasks that are accessible for all students.
During unit planning, I look at how I can adjust the assessment tasks to ensure all students can demonstrate what they know and can do against the aspects of the achievement standard being assessed. One of the assessment tasks I've asked my students to complete is to create an information report that they will then present to their peers. Two of the aspects being assessed are create text for familiar audiences and make presentations. Initially, when I interpreted make presentations, I pictured the students standing up in front of their peers and me looking at their vocal qualities of tone, pitch, volume, and pace. However, after unpacking the achievement standard, I know that these aspects of the achievement and related content descriptions do not actually stipulate that a student must use their voice and present live in front of the whole class. I adjusted the mode and conditions of this assessment to make sure all of my students could access the task. Some of the ways my students can present their information report to their peers can include a pre-recorded video or a multimodal PowerPoint with a recorded voiceover and images. For some students, it means the use of an aided or unaided alternative or augmentative communication, such as speech generating device or the use of Auslan. If I make adjustments to the assessment task, I make sure these are reflected in the delivery of the unit. It's important that students have these opportunities during the teaching and learning and not just at the end during the assessment.
When I am writing but I don't know a word, so I need my phone to translate.
So we use the pod book. I will ask them questions. They'll choose what they want to write down, and then I will transform it then to text and write it for them.
iPads, books read to us.
A range of departmental resources are available on the Assessment and Moderation Hub to support schools to differentiate teaching and learning and to consider access to the Australian curriculum. How do you support all students to access and demonstrate their learning against the achievement standards?